I'm a recreational marijuana farmer. I have been for a few years now. I also am a firearm owner. Now, all of it is legal in my state. I legally can own firearms and also be a legal recreational marijuana farmer. Now, let's move on from that. Now, in Washington state, they just passed a bill in my state to make it so that the only way to buy a firearm, now remember, we live in the United States, we have the Second Amendment. The only way we can buy a firearm now is if we go get a permit, apply for the permit, wait for the police to do the check for the permit, and then wait 60 to 70 days for the permit to go through before you can buy a firearm in my state. Now hear that through. First you go through, you apply for the permit. Then you go through and you have to go through your 15-day background check and all that. Then you have to wait 60 days after that before you're allowed to buy a firearm. That is completely unconstitutional. I don't care where you live in this country, that is unconstitutional. How is this allowed to pass? I am livid right now. I'm just trying to work my ass off to make a living. And yet now I gotta go through all these hoops in order to buy a fucking basic firearm. Excuse my French. But this is unconstitutional. I'm not educated, nor am I an expert, but I'm done. It seems like nobody in my state seems to care. There's no protests. There's nobody going around even standing on the side of the road saying repeal HB 113 or whatever the hell this new bill is called that just passed. It passed. It's law now. As of March, I can no longer go into a gun store and buy a firearm. It doesn't matter if it's a shotgun, a pistol, a rifle. It doesn't matter. Any type of firearm, I have to get a permit for now. That's unconstitutional. So at this point, I'm going to run for office. I don't care. I'm running for governor. I'm running for city council. I don't care. If there's an open position, I'm going to run for it and make difference. I'm done. People like Jasmine Crockett out here talking about how, oh, we need to be doing this and unconstitutional this and that. You know what's really unconstitutional? A place like Washington State going through and taking away my constitutional right to own a firearm because they don't agree with it. Meanwhile, people are trying to force me to use certain pronouns and call people by certain names because they think, oh, well, constitutionally, you should have to call them that. Okay, and constitutionally, you should have to, what do they always say? Oh, well, constitutionally, you should have to freaking, agree with the way they want to be called. Okay, then you should agree with my point of view and the fact that I want to own a firearm. You might not agree with the fact that I want to own a firearm, but that's my constitutional right. I might not agree with the fact that you want to walk around and call yourself a fucking unicorn, but that's your constitutional right. You can do that. But if I were to go and impede and say, you know what, no, I don't think you should be allowed to call yourself a unicorn. You need to go get a permit. You need to go apply for a permit and then wait 60 to 70 days before you can call yourself a unicorn. You'd be like, no, that's completely unconstitutional. But when it comes to firearms, all of a sudden, we make this massive change. Like, oh, now it's if guns are involved, let's just throw it out, everything off. Let's just throw the Constitution out the window. Meanwhile, more people are killed by drunk drivers. More people are killed by medical malpractice. More people are killed by hundreds of things. Now let's even get into rifles. People are like, oh, well, people are killed by rifles. There's like 100 people that are killed by rifles, I think, in the United States alone. And 99% of those are self-defense uses. And so you're going to start to sit here, well, what about mass shootings? Mass shootings are what is the word? Not over-expunged. Or they are blown out of proportion to the point so where you think, oh my God, it's World War III in America, which isn't the case. If you actually break down the numbers, we only have about like 1 or 2 mass shootings every year when it comes to the true statistics. Because a majority of it is gang violence. And you're not going to go to Africa and say, well, they have mass shootings all the time when you have 2 freaking, sorry, lost my train of thought. 2, what are they called? Oh my God, my rant just got me going. What's it called? 2 different nations, there we go, let's just say nations fighting each other. You wouldn't say, oh, well, that's gun violence. No, that's political violence. That's 2 countries warring with each other. You're not going to go take guns away at that point. You're going to say, well, no, one country needs the guns to protect itself. Like Ukraine and Russia. Y'all took, all the Ukrainians got all their guns taken away, and then what happened? Once Russia came through and started kicking down Ukrainian doors, they say, okay, guys, we're going to give you all your guns back so you can help defend the country. Also, you can't leave the country now. It's like, well, if we would have had firearms in the first place, maybe we could have protected ourselves a bit better. Yet, here they are, having to sit here and get billions of dollars from the United States in order to defend themselves. Meanwhile, here in America, we already have the ability to defend ourselves. And so this is just the point to where I'm like, how can anybody in this country allow this to happen? Now, I know I'm not educated. I lose my train of thought a lot. But at this point, I've got to be better than whatever politicians in the office, because it doesn't seem like anybody's doing any better. Because right now it's the Second Amendment. But once they're done with the Second Amendment, they're going to move on to the First Amendment, and they've already told us the First Amendment gets in their way. And this is just a stepping stone of them eroding the entire Constitution. What's next? Oh, pack in the courts. That way, if the Supreme Court overrules what they want to do, they can just sit there and make the Supreme Court completely full of liberal judges. They've already said that multiple times when Trump overturned, or not Trump, sorry, when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. All the people on the left, Democrats, independents, everybody who didn't agree with it was like, oh, well, we need to add more Supreme Court justices because obviously 9's not enough. So when you don't agree with something, you want to change it completely. But now that you do agree with it, you want everybody else to agree with you. I'm just done. So I don't know what I can do, what differences I can make, but I'm going to upload this video and hope that somebody sees this who can make a difference, or can at least know that, hey, somebody out there is going to make a difference. So if I see this person out there, I should fucking vote for them. So I'm not saying, hey, vote for me if you see my name on a ballot, da-da-da-da. All I'm saying is take this video as a warning label, okay? Or as a warning, knowing that, hey, at any point, your local government can come through and take away your constitutional rights. Now, today is the Second Amendment, but tomorrow it might be the First, might be the Fourth, might be the 14th Amendment. Who knows? But it's a slippery slope, and we cannot allow this to happen. So my name's Wayne Farnsworth, and I'm running for local election in my local elections. So, I'm not educated. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the smart dude who can, cure cancer in a day. I barely graduated high school. All I know is the Constitution is king. And yeah, the Constitution can be changed through amendments, which are extremely hard to do. That takes like 40 plus states to vote on an act. So that's the only way that this can happen. So unless you're passing amendments, there's no constitutional way you can be banning firearms. If you are, you're subverting your oath of office, and you need to be taken out of office. Now, we've got people like the Attorney General Pam Bondi who should be looking into things like this. Oh, hey, a Washington state governor decided that we should make firearms illegal, and the fact that you have to own a permit to buy one. Where in the Constitution does it say that I need a permit to buy a firearm? 0 places. Okay, well, that's obviously unconstitutional, and that governor or whoever put those laws through obviously subverted their oath and no longer needs to be in position. And I myself was red flagged in Washington state. I had to go turn all my firearms in for 18 months and spend $30,000 in litigation in order to get my rights restored. Luckily, I won. But it was the Washington State Superior Court that gave me that win. It took me 30 grand in 18 months going through every level of court. And I was going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, too, because I got red flagged. I was going to say, you know what? If Washington State Superior Court says no, I don't care what it is. I'll go up to the Supreme Court. Luckily, Washington State Superior Court agreed with me. And that gives me a bit of gumption, knowing that there are possibly maybe a few judges left in my state that might agree with this. So if I can do anything I can to get this law repealed, that's what I'm going to do. Because it's completely unconstitutional for any law to be on the books that makes me have to buy a permit to do anything constitutionally. If I had to go get a permit to freaking speak, that'd be an issue. If I had to get a permit to go freaking vote, that'd be an issue. But I don't need a permit. I just need a simple ID. Which, you need a simple ID and a background check to get a firearm. People are like, well, background checks don't work. We have universal background checks throughout the entire country. There's not a single place in the country you can go. There's no loopholes, no nothing. You go get your background check done, the police checked it, they say, okay, you're good to go, you get your firearm. Usually that takes 30 minutes, but now it's taking 60 to 70 days, which is completely ridiculous because my local town of 30,000 people can handle doing permitting in a day. It's not this huge wait list of people like they're trying to make it seem to be. So we need to make change. People, get out there, get your voices heard before our entire Constitution is eroded to the point where it's a communist country and we're just a shell of what we used to be. I'm not a smart American. I'm not an educated American. Hell, I can barely speak English half the time, but at least I know what's right or wrong. So do yourself a favor, make change, and if you can, run for your local elections and make difference, because there's nothing we can do just sitting on our asses all day, playing fucking Xbox, or working in your shop on your car all day. Yeah, it might feel great. It might, might turn some heads. But you know what? None of that's going to matter when we're sitting here completely slaved out to our government because they've eroded our constitution to the point to where all we do is pay taxes and go to work and live in 15-minute cities, not even able to buy a truck or a car. Because like Canada, they just made it to where it's illegal to own a vehicle that's older than the year 2000, and you can't be driving certain gas or diesel vehicles on the road. Oh, you can't. That's right. You can't have lifted vehicles on the road anymore. What kind of freaking country is that? I can't drive a lifted vehicle and it can't be older than 2000? My truck is lifted and it's from 1994 and it's diesel. I'm going to drive that till the day I die. Sorry, I'm not going to get rid of that for anything. So imagine that happening here in Canada. Somebody saying how you can't drive a lifted truck. If you want to drive a lifted truck, you're going to have to go get a permit. You're going to have to wait 60 days. And then once all that happens, you're going to have to get an inspection and all that. That's not constitutional. Nowhere in the Constitution does it state that I need to have a permit to lift my truck. Now, to have a permit to drive on the road is completely different. That's an ID. It's a privilege to drive on the road. It's not a privilege to own a firearm. Owning a firearm is a right. It's given to me by the Constitution when I'm born. Regardless of what you believe in, that is law. Now, unless 40 states vote to change the Constitution, nothing can change it otherwise. So, I know I'm ranting. It's early in the morning. I woke up at 4:30, opened my phone for my X app to tell me, hey, just an FYI, you can't buy firearms legally in Washington State anymore. Wow. Now I'm livid, and I better make a video about it because nobody else seems to be, or if they are, it's getting suppressed. So I know I made this video long. I probably spoke wrong, made some stupid statements, and sat here like an idiot. But you know what? I'm done with all this unfiltered nonsense being shoved out by politicians showing you how they live this perfect lifestyle. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. We all do. But we need to make better decisions when it comes to our country. I don't know who see this. President Trump, like, take into account what is going on with our Second Amendment. You say you're pro-firearm. J.D. Vance, you say you're pro-firearm. I watch you sit there shooting a saw on a freaking gun range on one of our military bases. What's going on? We need difference. We need change. We need to save our Constitution. We are a republic. Remember that. We are a constitutional republic. I love every one of you. I don't care whether you're left, right, centrist. I'm all over the place. I don't agree with everything every politician says, but I do agree with the Constitution, and I know you do too. So stay safe, everybody. I love every fucking one of you, and make sure you make change in your local community. Whether it's picking up a small piece of trash or helping out a complete stranger, do something to better yourself and the community around you. Stay safe, everybody, and stay beautiful, San Diego.